Hey, aunties! Adam z České republiky a já už se nemůžu dočkat své pravidelné týdenní dávky MinoriTea Report. Hey, aunties, this is Adam from Czech Republic, and that was me saying in chat that I cannot wait for my weekly dose of MinoriTea Report. I got my cup ready, so my aunties better be spilling some hot tea. Sending lots of love.
Cancel culture. Sashay away.
Primary picks.
And don't revoke my black card. So get your cups ready for MinoriTea Report. Hey, y'all.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, ladies. Hey.
Another day, another dollar.
Happy birthday, Mom. Had to get that out the back.
Happy birthday,
Out
Miss
the
Redis.
Yes, happy birthday.
Now,
Pisces season is here.
now, we can't promise that there might not be some sections of this episode that you might not want to listen to, but for right now,
She been listening.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom. Every year, because my birthday is this Saturday. So hers is March 2nd, mine is March 7th. So every year I always go, I am your gift, Mom. Like, you don't need a gift. And she just looks at me crazy like, boy, I better get a gift.
I know that feeling because
Pisces season's
my birthday is the day for my mom's birthday too. So yeah, I totally feel that.
It's like, we're gift to our mothers. I mean, come on.
Like, you're welcome.
Exactly. So happy birthday. Pisces season is here. Yes, Lord.
And
Hey,
10 more
community.
months, it'll be back to Capricorn season. So I'm just counting down the time.
Now, y'all wait until it become Leo season. We gonna really show out.
Okay, now. I'm not
But
mad
for
at
now, it's not our time yet. So we just
It
gonna
ain't.
sit.
It's my time.
We gonna hibernate.
it.
First off, when don't Leos show out? I forgot what meme I sent. Oh, I sent out like this meme of like when it was like Jay-Z and Kanye at Diddy's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the Leos were like Kanye or something like that. And the only people to respond were all the Leos be like, I ain't
Leos.
Kanye. I am not the one. If anything, I'm the neutral one. I'm the one minding my business. And I was like,
Okay.
damn.
No.
I was like,
Point proven.
exactly.
That was just enough rope to hang themselves with. So their business all out there got all offended over
All
a
the way
picture.
out there.
It really was. And then my next story was me saying that only Leos have responded to this. So then seeing more Leos respond and then being like, oh, seeing the next story, I'm like, see, gotcha.
There you go. Exactly. Point proven.
Yes. And shout out to Adam for bringing us in with that unique and fabulous fucking
Right?
intro.
Yes.
Like, come
I was
on
like,
now.
Come on, speak and sing that check.
I was talking to
Okay.
him for the longest time trying to get him to do an intro. And he'd been putting it off and like every other gay boy, he's like, I don't like the sound of my voice. And I'm like trying to remind him that you don't like hearing your voice because you don't hear it all the time, just like we all don't hear our voices all the time.
He must like it enough. That thing was a thesis.
Exactly. Well, she is a chatterbox, but I love her.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah,
I'm
she's a
playing
sweetheart.
with you.
Yeah, all the way
Did
from
you-
the Czech
Very good.
Republic, girl.
Right. Like, going off of what you were just saying, Dawon, about like people not hearing their voices. Did you know that some people actually can't hear internal dialogue? Like they can't think to themselves. Like they can't have a conversation to themselves. Like,
Really?
Yeah. Like for some people, it's just images and pictures that form, not actually words or songs or anything like that. Yeah. Some people can't hear
girl
their
that
voice. They can't hear that. They can't talk to themselves.
A girl that I work with, she's a creative director, and she doesn't have an inner dialogue. She doesn't have she sees color.
Yeah.
That's what she's like. When we were having this conversation, she was like, "Yeah, because I have an inner dialogue that ends up being an outer dialogue."
You don't say. For real?
Well, only when I'm not doing edibles.
Look.
Oh, there we go. Right.
Lord, I'm never going to live that down. I want to listen back to that episode one of these days just to hear the crickets.
Look, I'll be locked up if I didn't have my inner dialogue. I mean, that's how like I have to use it to tell myself to code switch and be like, don't catch a case. Like, not today's thing. Like, the pep talks I got to give myself on a daily basis, not to cut a bitch, snatch somebody by the edges or the two front teeth, girl. I'm telling you.
But see, I bet you it's on the opposite end too. Like, I bet you gas yourself up. Like, oh, bitch, you better not let him talk to you like that.
Actually, honestly, I really don't. It's always just reflecting of like myself and my anger. Like, that's the only way I can control my mouth and my anger is by having the inner dialogue. Other than that, I can't like pump myself up because I get nervous and like my nerves get the best of me. Like, I can't give myself a pep talk, but to take myself, calm myself from going off the edge and catching the case. That's the only time it comes in handy.
She said, in the 20-something years that I've been on this earth, that's the one thing I learned how to do. Not catch a case.
Right, it's not catch a case. Mm-hmm.
Murder was the case that they gave, man. Mine is always, what is mine? My inner dialogue is
a song.
Just 90% of the time it is a random song or some kind of melody to turn what I just said into a song. It's ridiculous.
I see.
And then the other time is just like nerd stuff. But I think I see both pictures and like not words, but like have the inner dialogue at the same time sometimes. Is that weird? Have you heard that before? Like, I think I see doing the most? Both or do both.
Look, we were just talking right before the podcast began, about like when certain phrases come up, like for me at least, I'll see like in my head, I'll see something that phrase triggers.
Yeah, same here.
But I do have I definitely have inner dialogue that also turns into outer dialogue. And I don't care. I had a conversation with myself today, and because we have open seating, so I told my little desk buddy, I was like, hey, just don't mind me. I'm going to be talking to myself a lot because I'm doing a lot of graphic design work. And when I do, I'm like talking stuff out. And I was like, if it gets too noisy, just let me know. And, but I'm just letting you know.
And I'll say, self, shut up, shut up.
And I tell myself, huh? I said, self. I said, huh? I can't.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know.
How was you guys' weeks, your weekends? What's been going on lately? Like, I just got back from Palm Spring last weekend, and then it got
come on yoga.
This past
she was trying. Yeah, she was trying some yoga. I wish Auntie would have posted that. That's what Auntie Vodka should have posted. That video of her trying to do yoga.
Now, see, when you said that, when you said that, now I got that picture. I don't know if you saw this little video of this little, I don't know if he's 8 or 9 years old. He's like a little chocolate boy. He's a little rotund or whatever, but he's doing splits in the front lawn. And then his mama or sister or somebody's off camera gassing him up. Ooh, you doing you doing splits. Oh, you just so talented. That's what I saw.
No, the reason that video was taken was we were at the bar and React had just come on. And I was like, oh, I wish I could put my leg up like that girl in that Pussycat Dolls video. And so they were trying to lift my leg, and obviously I was overhyping it or whatever. It was funny, though. But by that time of the night, we were lit. We got our friend Josh. What's up, Josh? Hey, Landon. We got Josh so drunk that night.
What was he
drunk
like?
Josh is our favorite.
Because he's so controlled.
Yes, and he's so tiny too. He's like a petite human being, so it don't take that much to get him lit. And he was keeping up with us that whole night. Okay. So yeah, that night was funny. But Palm Springs was a blast. And then this past weekend, Issa, our friend Justin and Dawon were in town by this point. So these weekends are just getting booked and party filled almost in a way here. And then I might be going to St. Patty's Day in Chicago for the first time since I've left. So
that'll be fun. Hopefully it's not cold because they're getting the beat down this winter.
Right. That is true. So
I was there.
So it's been a cool.
I don't know if you were there at the same time, but there was a time when there was it was St. Patrick's Day and it was 90 degrees.
2012.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
I had
amazing.
just moved to the city. And I had a temporary housing downtown, and I have friends that work at Whirlpool. So there's a Whirlpool building right on the river downtown. So we spent the first part of the day up there in the whirlpool. Like they had like obviously stoves and ovens and things like that. So they were catering, there was booze, and I hadn't packed shorts for me living in temp housing.
Yeah.
Because it's March.
It was
like,
March.
It's winter.
Still winter.
But it was literally like 85 that day. So I had to go out and buy like short sleeves and shorts that day. But and they
amazing.
shut down Wrigley, I remember that same night. Mm-hmm. Shut down the street because it was just so packed.
Everybody came out.
So nice.
Because like St. Patrick's Day in Chicago, they, so hey, Chicago people, y'all know what we talking about. But they dye the river green, and it's not like a regular green, it's like a neon green. And
it's like Ecto Cooler, high C.
Exactly. It's the same color green. It's that same color neon green of the relish that they put on Chicago dogs.
Facts.
It's like super, super green. But it's like great for pictures and all that stuff. So the city is already packed from all the people from the Midwest coming in there because you basically start drinking at 9:00 and then you go until basically you pass out. But that was that year when it was like 85, 90 degrees.
It was lit.
It was sunny and hot and everybody was out. The streets were packed. People were like drunk by 10 o'clock. It was amazing.
It was a wrap, but it was everything. Everything.
There were people passed out. There were people passed out all over downtown. I was living downtown in the New East Side. And where I lived was like 1 block south of the river. And then 1 block north of Millennium Park. So that's what they call the New East Side because they put a whole bunch of new buildings
Girl,
up there.
we might have passed each other. We didn't know each other at that point, but because I was at Wacker and oh God, I can't think of the cross street right now. Wacker and is it not LaSalle?
Could be.
I can't remember.
Could be.
Literally like that same area.
Yeah. So I was right at Columbus Drive and Wacker is basically the intersection, and then you go a little bit further back. But yeah, that was a fun St. How do we get to talk about St. Patrick's Day?
Well, I was just saying what I was doing for the next few weekends. It's just like these like fun weekends, even though I'm getting a little older now and the body can't handle it. You know, I'm turning. I don't even know if I want to say my age on here. I don't care. 36. I just turned 36 by the time you guys hear this.
Yes.
This weekend, March 7th, 36. So the body is struggling to hang on some of these weekends, but I can still keep up. But it's just the
recovery
after.
The recovery is that bounce back, girl.
Woo.
Yeah. I think I have a little bit of travel coming up. I don't have anything personal, I don't think, in March, but April's going to be a busy month. Both work travel and personal travel. Adam and I are going out to Phoenix for a while, and then Lake Havasu in Arizona. Where else are we supposed to be going? I think we're going to be going to Detroit for a weekend. I got to do a road show with work, and we have to hit like I think like Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Ohio, Florida.
I thought I was going places.
Yeah, it's
and community. If you see us out and about where we're all in these places, hit us up. Let us know. Let's grab a beverage. Let's grab a picture. Grab an intro for y'all that's still slacking for your intros.
Hello.
That part. Oh man. So yeah, definitely. Like if you see us out and about and we in your city, let's meet up.
Yeah.
We want to meet all the community members as much as we can, at least.
100%.
And make sure you subscribe, download, and share with your family and friends. You know, we say that every episode, but please be sure to do that. Continue to post your likes and everything in the IG stories. We see those. We try to repost that. Everyone was commenting about how heated it got in the last episode between Dawon and I.
I don't think they were ready.
They weren't ready.
No one was ready.
We weren't ready.
No one was ready. I started laughing again, all over again, listening to the episode, just because I have forgotten just like how we even got there.
Right?
Oh my God, it was just so funny. And then everyone just being like, and everyone was commenting, and I just sat there and I was like, for once it wasn't me. She got her mouth shut, girl.
Oh man, it was good stuff. But hey, I mean, we don't always have to agree. It is what it is.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's the fun of it. That's the point of the podcast, to show the spectrum of us. So That week we just didn't agree. It don't mean I don't love my sister. And y'all better not come for her. I can tell you that.
Exactly.
How about that?
Exactly.
Yeah. But I guess, I mean, since we're talking about that, some of the people that have been responding were talking about cancel culture. And so it got me thinking, like, at what point is something canceled and when is it not canceled? Because it looked like everyone, for the most part, was either they agreed with Dawon because it was irrelevant, you know, like it was just, there was no point of trying to cancel something because it couldn't be canceled at that point. And there was people that agreed with you, Kerel, that like at some point you need to cancel her and anyone that says stuff out of pocket. So when do we cancel people?
Almost like, and mine, honestly, listening back, and like it's kind of one of those things where you have the inner dialogue and you think you probably said something but you didn't. My whole thing wasn't even really about, my whole foundation of it wasn't really about canceling Wendy. My whole thing was just like, she's saying shit out of pocket and someone needs to check her. And then she's done it habitually. So I think that for me, for quote unquote cancel culture, I don't really cancel, like, I don't put too much steam to the canceling unless you do something habitually and you continue to, at least for I feel, come at either my blackness, my gayness, or people just like, overall, it's just like let people live kind of thing. And if you habitually do that, and like you guys said, she built her career on that. To me, I'm like, okay, if you're going to build your career on hate, and I'm not checking for you, you know, and she might be canceled in my mind because I never really watched her show. I just see it when Twitter's trending and things like that. So it wasn't really, my foundation wasn't really about canceling Wendy or canceling Boosie. It was more about what they were saying, and we need to check that because you have these platforms and people are listening to you and people can run with those ideas.
Yeah, for sure. But the question though, when do we cancel and when do we
When it's habitual. When a person continues to show that, at least for me.
So then we would then cancel Wendy then. Because that's what she habitually does, right? Based off what you're saying.
Hey, sure. If you need to. But I mean, like you said, people say both sides of it. Some people, that might not be their line. For me, is I see that habitual nature and you're not trying to grow and better yourself. Because even with her half-ass apology, I'm like, I don't know if it's there. So it might not be everyone taking it that way. But for me, I took it that way. And for me, but thing is, I can't even cancel Wendy because I wasn't really checking for her before. I never really watched her show. So that was a weird thing listening back to it. Exactly. Right. Exactly, because I already knew what her platform was built on. I already knew like hers was built on hate. So I was like, I don't want that in my life. But when you start seeing people commenting on Twitter and commenting on our status and things like that, that's why I honestly brought it up, because I was like, okay, if she's going to continue to habitually say stuff against my community, we might need to delete. So
what about you, Dawon?
But yes, habitually, to answer your question.
I honestly struggle with the whole idea of quote unquote canceling somebody because in part, like it removes the idea that people make mistakes. It almost puts people in celebrity or people with platforms in a position or creates this expectation that everything out of your mouth has to be non-offensive. And I'm just not with that kind of energy. Now, it's not to say that I'm not with like, you know, certain people need to be canceled, like R. Kelly canceled, like done, right? Jeffrey Dahmer canceled.
So where's that line? That's what I'm getting like. So how do you get
that line for you?
I think it's criminal. I think for me, it's criminal. So if you are infringing on, you know, like if you're inciting hate speech, you know, not just saying something out of pocket, but like you're inciting hate speech. If you are, you know, physically doing something like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, that is legit just criminal. Like that to me is like, okay, there's you can be rehabilitated, but as far as I'm concerned, your celebrity is canceled. You know, but if it's somebody saying something that's, you know, that I don't agree with, you know, like Lil Boosie, you know, it's like, okay, well, that's a point of education. That's not a cancellation. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I was curious just because Zach, one of the people who had responded, had mentioned about the cancel culture, and it's kind of dumb. And it just kind of got me thinking because like I'm kind of on the fence with cancel culture. Like I think it is very much subjective. It's up to the
Mhm.
person's, morals and where they stand on certain issues. And so for
Sensitivities.
there, they just may be canceled because the other person just may not be vibing with what they're selling. Um, but at the same time, I think cancel culture could be good because some people shouldn't have a platform because, like Kerel was saying, that platform, if they're using it incorrectly, that platform can be very damaging towards people
Right.
and marginalized groups of people. So if you have a platform and you misusing it, I think it is very important that we do cancel those people because it's only promoting hate, and there's already so much of that in the world that we're undoing all the things that we have been doing. And it's very much easier to do it on social media now because of how easy it is to access everything on social media. So I think cancel
Especially
culture,
if you know better.
right? So I think cancel
you should
culture
know
is
better.
very important to make sure that we're teaching people to know better. Like there are celebrities out there who they got children following them. And so again, when you're shaping young minds to turn into adults, which then those adults will then continue to teach their generation. That's how you start creating those generational cycles that can be very harmful and negative. So I'm pro cancel culture, but I think we shouldn't be telling people to cancel someone. We should be just informing other people why we've canceled someone and then let them go to the point of wanting to cancel someone. Not being like, y'all shouldn't listen to this person, y'all shouldn't talk to this person, blah, 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 blah. Because one, you ain't nobody's mama and daddy besides your own damn children. So you can't tell nobody what to do. But we should be encouraging and inspiring versus manipulating and forcing people into cancel culture. So I was just curious.
I also feel like people use cancel culture as like a way to clout chase. Like everybody's looking for their little 15 minutes of fame and want to go viral and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like, and I'm not saying that this is for every situation that's out there, because I do believe that there are people that are, that have just causes, to get people on board to cancel this person or that person. So I get that. But does
it have to be celebrity though? Like, remember you said, I forget what episode, maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, you're like, it's so easy for you to cancel people that you don't know, but you need to cancel some people in your own lives. And I think a lot of times, like you're saying about that 15 minutes of fame, I think a lot of times people do it towards celebrities because they try to get some
They're
viral
trying to
moment.
Clout chase.
But I think cancel culture can also be within your day-to-day life, whatever that means. And I think, honestly, we've always had cancel culture. We just now put a marketing term to it, honestly. Like, there's always been, before that was like delete. Remember that viral moment and things. So I think there's always been
back
this.
in the day.
Right, exactly. So I think people are just almost annoyed with the term cancel culture, but they do it anyway, day in, day out. They just don't like the viralness of what cancel culture is, I guess, now. And it's not to say that we're not giving people opportunities to redeem themselves. If they're willing to grow, you see that in their actions. So I think that's almost another line. It's just like, if you're seeing a person saying, okay, you checked me, I hear what you're saying, and these are the steps I'm doing or trying to do to better myself or to grow myself and expand that within the platform I'm in, whether it be celebrity or within your local community, then you can become uncanceled. They bring back Will and Grace. You can bring back all these, you can bring a person back. So it doesn't mean they're canceled forever. It just means that they need to show you, for whomever it is, Jarrell or Dawon, Kerel, or whomever it is listening, if they show you steps that, okay, you checked me, this is the reason why you checked me, and these are the steps I'm doing to better myself because I now understand that what I was doing was hurting a community or hurting marginalized situations, you can become quote unquote uncanceled. But I think, honestly, the line's probably different for everybody.
I feel
unfortunately and fortunately.
I do feel like the reason the question probably came up, and it might not be the specific reason, because everybody has their own things, but I wonder if the community at large is just getting hip to when cancel culture is based on something that's real or when it's based on something that's just bullshit. Do you know what I mean? And so, and when you see a pattern of behavior of people that are, clout chasing or, ringing a loud bell because they want attention or, they want to get their video to go viral or whatever, I think people are peeping that game. And, you see a lot of that, not a lot, you've seen some of that with even like the Me Too movement where, there are so many really great pieces of work that was doing to expose something that we all have seen, just have not held ourselves and these men accountable to. But then you have other, people who misuse the Me Too movement. And I think people start to peep that game, really are starting to peep, point that out pretty quickly. And I think they're getting fed up with it.
And that's kind of like the bad apples. Like, I mean, they always said in school, don't let the one kid, like the one bad apple ruin the class. Like, you might not get recess or whatever it might be, and that's always going to be there. So it's just like, I think, be cognizant and aware of that there's always going to be people that take advantage of situations, but it shouldn't ruin situations that are legit, that needs to be checked or canceled or rehabilitated, whatever it may be.
I think it'd also be interesting for people to really define what cancel means for them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because just like we were just talking about a couple, weeks ago with, this, you're so willing to cancel somebody that you don't know versus the people that you do know, like that's an emotional maturity thing, so it's like, okay, yeah, it's easy for you to have fake rage against somebody that you have no invested interest in. You know what I mean? Versus the people that are actually in your life and are actually doing things in your life to either keep you from growing, keep you stagnant, dragging you down, etc. There's something that's blocking you from really exploring that problem.
And by the way, it wasn't fake rage. I did catch that comment in the moment, but you're like, oh, that's the fake rage I'm talking about. I was like, bitch. But I reheard that. I was like,
you talking about last week. She's still trying to prove her point from last episode, girl.
I'm not trying to prove nothing. When you just said fake rage, it reminded me.
Girl, I wasn't even thinking about that.
I have fake rage. See? You got to watch what you say, girl.
No, I know that, girl. We wouldn't have been having that conversation for that long, and that rage wasn't coming from a place of authenticity. Right. Not grace, girl. There was no place for grace.
And once again, it wasn't just about canceling Wendy. It was about the habitual nature. For me.
Right.
For me,
but
it's
again,
more about
that's
the habitual
the question.
nature.
Like, are people starting to define for them what cancel means? Like cancel can mean, you cut that person off and you still have affection, feeling, whatever towards them, but you cut them off for whatever reason. It could mean that, you don't feel anything for them. They're a non, factor. But I think until people kind of determine what does that mean for them, what good is quote unquote cancel culture if
there's no
really
follow through.
Right. You don't even participate in it. So
yeah. It's like what you get mad about.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. So thank you for that question. I forget a couple people actually brought that up in the DMs and everything. And as long as social media is here, I think it's going to always be a part of the nature of the beast, unfortunately and fortunately.
Look, it'll morph into something else. We talking about cancel culture now. We'll be talking about, I don't know, some new term, twisting titties tomorrow.
Twisting titties. Okay, now. I got them new titties like Nicki Minaj. Let me leave Nicki.
I wonder how that feels. Like, to have all of that.
Get a titty job?
I wonder how that, like, even like the tits or like the butt, like it just, what real feels like. Cause you touch your own body and blah, blah, blah. But then when you have like prosthesis inside of your body and not in that kind of way, y'all. I keep y'all mind.
We know how that feels.
We know how that feels. Oh, we all know how that feels.
We're well aware.
I just wonder, like, how does that, like, to the person, how does that feel to have these things?
Foreign object, yeah.
I wonder if, like, after, like, she heals, does she play with it for, like, play with them, like, just to say, oh, this feels
the sensation
different.
Still there,
right?
I bet her back hurt. They getting too big now. I know her back, but I guess her ass is getting bigger too. So maybe it counterbalance.
She's even himself out.
Yikes!
Not yikes.
I do kind of like that song.
I do like that song.
It sounds like the baby.
Look, I think she's like, she's hanging on by a thread to relevancy. Poor
She's
Nikki.
Done a good job of hanging on.
Like, I think she's got life. I don't know. Like, I'm ready to see her go away. And it's sad because, like, I actually believe that she's talented. I'm not like a huge Nicki fan, but I mean, I like her music and I'm not like a hater on her. I'm just disappointed because I feel like she is super talented. is creative. She has, spit game. She hasn't used it, but she has it. It's unfortunate that she hasn't had a hit since Safari.
I don't know. Yikes might be the one. Yikes is nice. Yeah, she's spitting. I don't like the Rosa Parks line. We said that before, but
I liked it. I said I liked it.
It sounds like the baby.
It does sound like the baby. Yeah, I like the track. I don't know. We'll see what she comes up with. But
and then Lady Gaga got new music out, so everybody's starting to come out. We just need Adele, we need Janet, and we need Beyonce and Riri. Come on now, have it a female summer.
Look, I know Adele said that she'll be out with a new album in September, so she's already verbally confirmed that her album, her new music will be out in September.
She done lost all that weight. You think it's going to be sad, or you think she's going to pick up a whole new vibe?
I don't care as long as she sounds the same.
Same here.
Yeah,
because Big Luther and Skinny Luther
did not sound.
We like the Big Luther.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So don't make us have to say we like the Big Adele.
Look, I would show up on her stage with a full ass plate.
Big Luther with the curve.
Jarrell would be throwing donuts at her. Girl, eat.
Eat something. Look, I'm sitting front row. I'm sitting front row at every concert with a plate like this, being like, "You ready? Come on now, come get these greens."
What's gonna be on that plate? Because she's from England, and they ain't got the best food. Haggis.
But she messed with some POCs, so she know how to eat.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%.
We'll feed you. We'll get you back. We'll get you all the way together.
Okay.
Quick question. This is totally off subject, but if you had to give up one soul food meal, what would be the hardest thing? And not full meal, but actual just one dish. So fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, whatever.
Did we talk about this during Thanksgiving?
What one would be the hardest for you to give up?
I don't think we talked about it. We did the Curiosity food edition where we did this or that.
This or that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think about that the other day when I was on the train, and I think the hardest one for me to give up forever would be macaroni and cheese.
Mine would be mac and cheese as well. I can't give up.
Mine would be that or dressing. I don't know. It depends on the day and the mood. Both of them. I need both of them.
She said, "Come on, Queen of Loopholes." I forgot what post it was. Oh, it was the rep just said Tupac or Biggie, and this bitch goes, "Are we talking humanity or are we talking lyrically?" I was like, "Queen of Loopholes." Queen of Loopholes. For real.
Music industry friends, we talk about this all the time when it comes to Biggie and Pac. And literally, if you ask anyone in the music industry, it comes down, are we talking about rapping or are we talking about cultural impact?
No. We're talking about
that wasn't the question. That was not the question.
Exactly.
I'm just letting you know what happened.
I know. And we let you know what the question was. And she was she like, I'm going to reword this so I can get the question that I need in this moment because I ain't got that answer.
And you notice, ever since we came out with
I'm giving up the two hands up emoji because I really don't give a damn.
Because ever since we started doing those, which people are really, I guess y'all are really liking that. It's kind of fun, so we'll have to keep doing it. But we've been keeping the descriptions very high level, not to get into these, at the end of the day, is it Aunt Viv old school or Aunt Viv new school? I don't care what your reason is, pick a set. But this one over here,
I didn't even leave the longest thesis. We got some community members that be leaving pages.
Yeah.
Which I love. I'm like, hey.
But at least they gave an answer though.
Yeah.
Not every single one. Not every single one. Because Dawon be trying to make them give an answer. He be like, I said you can't say both.
She did be taking them.
I'll check them. I'll tell them. Come on now. This is not what this is about. And then there's some people that'll post some stuff why do you have to compare the two? Why not? We're not saying you have to kill one person, but it's all for fun. And I'm glad y'all are enjoying it.
Yeah. But I smushed them dressing and that mac into one and become a mac and dressing.
See, I don't really do that. I'll mix my dressing with my greens, but I eat my mac and cheese by itself. I don't mix anything with it.
Yeah, mine just be next to each other and just be harmony and everything. See, now you're getting me hungry. I just ate too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I'm sitting here trying to taste it. Oh yeah, because like I keep thinking, you can't think
Right.
because I keep thinking about because basically soul food is basically what you have for every single holiday. So like I can't think about those three things without having to think about like candy yams and like, oh yeah, that's sweet. And then I started thinking about the butter. Then I started thinking about the rolls, and then I started thinking about them touching. I'm like, do I really want them to be touching? Do I like them touching anymore? There are certain things that I like. Like my head, I would just went down a hole.
She went down a whole rabbit hole with herself. Oh man! But y'all keeping up with another hard left here. Keeping up with the all 95 debates that are going on,
Lord.
and tomorrow's Super Tuesday. If you're listening to this on a Monday,
yes, so people,
tomorrow's Super Tuesday. So please make sure you're out there registered to vote, please.
Yes, and for those of y'all that got people in Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, Georgia, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, and Virginia, make sure y'all people out there. Tell them to make sure they're voting tomorrow. They gotta show up.
I've been seeing a whole bunch of people flapping their gums about this candidate and this candidate and this candidate. So, like, I hope you flap them gums all the way to the polls and exercise your right.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think the Georgia primary is later in the month. I think it's the 24th. We're not on Super Tuesday. But everybody else, I think you named is on that Super Tuesday. But nonetheless, make sure you're still registered, because we cannot have people sitting out. We cannot have people complaining after the fact that the person you thought was going to win or didn't win. Nope. If your ass stayed home, your ass shut up too.
Look, and there's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of chatter out there on social media, friends and friends of friends or whatever, talking about, how this is starting to feel like, 2016 with, Bernie and Hillary, and how the Bernie folks went kind of their hard left. And I just have to say, all these conversations are pointless as long as you are throwing your vote blue. That's all that matters.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't know. So right now, because you're right. At the end of the day, when it comes to the election in November, it's about voting blue. Absolutely. But we still have to get to a point where we figure out who's going to be the best person to put on the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have someone now that you guys are leaning more to? Because I think the last time we actually did a politic episode, we were all kind of like, man, there's no one really pulling us. And that was a few months ago. So do you guys have someone now that if you had to vote today, where would you be going?
I think,
yeah, because I got to vote.
We said Warren. I think we said Warren maybe the last time, and I actually did a. That's funny you say that. Today I did a poll or like a quiz at work just to make sure what I guess value and things like that, just to see what would come out and how they pair it up to candidates. And I think it's at isidewith.org, and they have literally just a bunch of questions, and it could be as long of a question list as you want, or there's like a shorter version as well. And of course I take the long one just because I want to make sure I'm getting a lot of these thoughts out, and just to make sure I'm paired out right. And it ended up being Warren for me by at 94%. And I think Bernie was at 92. I think Biden was at 92. Buttigieg was at 91%.
Wait, so how are these 90? How are these? What is this adding up to?
Because overall, well, no,
oh, 90% of their issues you are
agree with
aligned
mine.
with.
Exactly.
Okay,
correct.
I thought this was forced ranking.
She was she was about to come for that math. She was like,
yes.
Don't. She was like,
no, I know she's about to come for me. I don't know what she keep trying to come for me.
No, I'm just checking for the math to make sure it's added up.
No, and so, but then. Obviously, it showed that I was very Democratic. Also showed that I was kind of like Green Party, kind of environmentally aware, I guess. And then at the bottom was Trump at 8%. So I was like, oh, what do I agree with Trump on? That's an interesting thing. But just to make sure that what my gut is telling me and what I'm hearing aligns to actually what I care with, and it just seems like they're meshing together. So Warren, do I think she's going to win it right now at this point, just by the primaries recently? Doesn't look like she's going to. However, I'm voting for everybody blue. So, but I think Warren is the one, at least right now, if I had my ideal candidate, it sounds like it'd be her.
Yeah, I hate to be a bandwagoner, but I'm in the same boat. I've liked Warren since the very beginning. I like the fact that she has a plan for everything, and that somehow they're trying to use that as a slur. Like that's a reason not to like Elizabeth Warren, because she actually has a plan when all you got is ideas. Like, so yeah, I'm just aligned to, I think that she's, significantly qualified. I think that she's wickedly smart. I think that she visibly and utterly, and from the core of her sense, cares about the position, not for the power of it, but for the impact. Like for me, she exudes, I want to make an impact, a positive impact on the world around me. And all of her rhetoric and language and policies and actions have been in support of that. Whereas I feel like other candidates are politicians, that can do some good, but this is really a feather in their cap.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, and I agree with you too, like from the get-go, it's been Warren from the get-go. Watching this last debate, it was a mess. It was a real mess. And I like how she did a good job when they were asking certain questions, but like, you can't answer this question without being a race into it. So the fact being that you're trying to answer this question without factoring the race issue, the issues of the Democratic, the system that's harming so many different cultures.
Systematic racism.
There you go. You can't answer the question without at first addressing that. Period. Mm-hmm. And she made sure she went over time. She's like, I gave 0 fucks. I cut him off.
Right.
And she's like, I cut Amy Klobuchar off, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to say what I need to say because...
And she was talking about redlining.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, thank you.
Absolutely.
Like, that needed to be brought up like 10 debates ago.
Yeah. Right.
It needed to be brought up like 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting...
And for her to actually bring it up and not them trying to force it out of the candidates is what I love. That she's always continues like time out. No, we need to talk about this because
that's
of X, Y,
the part.
Z.
That's the part. Because she's the one that's actually bringing up these topics that really matter to the American people that they aren't talking about. Like they want to keep things so focused on what you did 20 years ago and what you did when you were in high school and what you did when you voted with this person, what you did. Like all this stuff that has nothing to do with what are they going to do. And she's the one that's bringing them right back to Real Street. She brought the conversation back around to poverty and financial displacement. She brought the conversation back to, what was that when she said, oh gosh, I just lost it. But all that to say, she has been very consistent in terms of like the passion she has for the issues that she's talking about. And it's not just lip service. It's not just, I have a plan because that's what you're supposed to do if you're running for the president, which I think a lot of candidates are doing. I think she's coming at it from a heart place.
Yeah, I think the person that has the best chance of beating Trump, unfortunately, is Biden. And I only say that because he was a former VP. And so many people who are not paying attention to politics, his name alone and seeing his face and his name will make people be like, oh, well, at least he's been in office before. He's held some type of title before. So, and a high title at that too. So he's a safe bet to go with. I feel like Warren is almost like a female Bernie, but she ain't yelling at you and trying to shove the shit down your throat as much as Bernie is. Like, Bernie's aggressive. And I think, and that's the thing that rubs me the wrong way with Bernie is it's more of, this is a fact, and it's zero fucks about anyone else's other opinions. And I don't think that's a great way to run a country. I don't disagree with what he's saying in the sense of there are things that need to be fixed. Absolutely. 100% agree. But when you are coming at, take from this without any disregard as far as how that's going to affect other people, you can't pull Republicans across the side. And that's the thing. Like, we have to make sure that we're pulling some of those Republicans who are on the fence that can be persuaded. We got to appeal to them in a way to make them come over and vote more blue.
And how are you going to have the healthcare plan, the healthcare for all plan is the one thing that you always talk about every single time you open your mouth. You talk about this healthcare plan, knowing they're going to ask you to back it up with numbers. And then their first response is, how much time do you got? Like, no, you need to be able to explain this stuff in layman's terms so people can understand. And even if it's just dispelling the myth that the cost to do this, something right, is equal to or more than the cost that we spend for wars, bailouts, and all the other things that are not benefiting the majority of the American people.
I will say Bernie has been so true, though, as far as like, Bernie has the cleanest record out of everybody. He has his record in Congress, like in politics, backs up everything that he believes in and says he will do, because he's actually been fighting for that for several decades now, so, which is great. And he's also one of the few people that has not taken money from big corporations to also help fund his campaign as well, too. Mm-hmm. So he has been doing a good job.
For both rounds, too.
For both rounds,
2016 and this one, which is hard to do.
Really hard to do. So it's great that to see him being more, like, being really for the people. But it's just unfortunate that he's being for the people for certain people. And when I look for as a presidential candidate, yes, I want them to be more blue, but I also want them to give a damn about the red too. I want them to make sure that, we are trying to find a middle ground at some sort. I don't want.
I feel like Bernie's at this point. He's like, I'm tired of you hoes.
Yeah, right, for real. Uncle Burn. Like, look here, little child. Let me tell you something.
Like,
what you're not gonna do.
So,
like, I've been screaming on this podium for the last 12 years.
Okay. Like, I didn't pay my dues.
Come on.
I didn't pay my dues.
I like the meat. Oh, sorry. I was about to say, I just like the Twitter or the tweet from Eddie Glaude Jr. that said, I wish some people were as unsettled by white nationalists as they are by democratic socialists. And I was like, ain't that the truth? Y'all talking about, healthcare is so radical and this and that. Yes, I get that you got to pay for shit. However, y'all ain't up in arms when people shooting up black churches and shooting up kids' schools and all this stuff, and the white nationalists in Charlottesville. Y'all ain't saying nothing then, but now we're talking about healthcare to help your bum ass with your bum ass need. And now you're upset?
We actually want to give you something that you can use instead of just taking your money for something you're not going to see, but you got a problem with that?
Right.
I'm like,
get out of here.
I'm about tired of y'all. So that's why Bernie yelling. I'm about tired too, Bernie. I'm about to be, but I agree. Like he probably needs to calm that down a little bit because it is probably rubbing people the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. And then like Pete too. Oh shit. Pete had the nerve to try to speak when they were talking about, when they asked Joe Biden the question about, I think it was Bernie Sanders' idea of legalizing marijuana and freeing all people that were wrongfully committed for
expunging records
for selling,
and all that.
And Pete Buttigieg tried to jump in, and they were like, I think they did him a solid and was like, "It's not your turn. Please listen to the rules," because they were like, "Bitch, you about to get roasted. Don't do it." Somebody was in that microphone was like, "Get him off the air. Shut him up. Go to someone else."
Pete's answer, I mean, everything just seems so canned for him.
It really
Especially
does.
like the moment where they're all asking, "Oh, your favorite model," and misconceptions about you. And everyone actually kind of gave funny or legit kind of little moments, which I was like, oh, this softened up the candidates. Everyone except Pete, where he was like, well, I think a misconception about me is that I'm unflappable. And that sounds like an interview answer. Like, it's such a stock answer. I'm like, you had an opportunity finally to show a softer side of you, to show a funnier side of you, to show a different side of you. And that's the answer you get, which goes with what bothers me so much with him is just like, I don't know what he truly believes in, because I feel like everything he says is what people are feeding him to say.
Yes, absolutely. Part of him talking on the last debate, I was watching his hand movements. I think he's been watching Obama speaking. And that's it. Yes, with the hand.
Yep.
And it came across like he knew exactly what he was trying to say, what he wanted to say, which is something Obama was really great at. However, it missed all the genuine of what he was saying. It just felt like he read his, his notes, his note cards. Yep. He knew his script and he knew exactly what to say and how to say it. And that was it. But it lacked all the actual emotion and personality behind it. Yeah. And I feel like Biden is almost like that, but I find myself liking him more because he then gets off scripts and he becomes Uncle Joe. And then you'd be like, oh, there's Joe. There's Joe. Okay, there he is. I need that Joe back. That real Joe. Like, okay.
That's what Corey and I said last night, or when we were watching it. We're like, there goes a Joe that everybody liked. Like, where has that been?
Yes.
And so all that Botox.
Yes. And then with Warren, again, I think she knows she comes ready for battle every single time. She is. Every time. She knows her shit. She knows her shit, and that I think another reason that draws me towards her, because you can tell she took the time to learn. It's not her thinking, speaking, crystal clear. It comes in nothing but passion, and she be heated too. And I'd be like,
she threw some daggers. She's been throwing a couple, and I'm like, you need to reel some of that back, because that's starting to, make me question.
It's kind of Bernie. It's a little Bernie. It's a little Bernie-esque. It's a little Bernie-esque.
But she told Bloomberg, so that's when you told them to kill it.
Oh,
I was like, oh.
And can we talk about why? Can we talk about why he is even there? Man, Mike Bloomberg needs to go. He needs to go.
And he speaking from the cannabis guy, the question about legalizing cannabis, he lost a whole bunch of people. I was shocked when he sat up there and said, and I'm paraphrasing, something to the effect of that we have to listen to the scientists, because the scientists, haven't done all the studying that they need to do on it. And, it could potentially impact your brain, but I wouldn't want to take it away from the states that have already legalized it. First of all, as president, you can't, because that's a sovereign capability of the independent states.
Break it down on them.
But then second of all, the fact that you have anybody part of the Democratic Party who thinks that being on the wrong side of cannabis, meaning against cannabis, is going to garner them votes, when the majority of people that are actually consuming legal cannabis are people that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, that they're using it for all the medical effects that they're getting. So you are not going to find anybody that is in any of those states, or know somebody that's in a state where they can get cannabis safely, pining to this view that, I want a more, my view of conservative, what is it called? The central leftist. Is that what they call it? When you're more center, but you're still to the left. At any rate, moderate. that's what he deems as being centrist.
Yeah.
That's a weird line to draw.
And the scary thing about him is just he's just got the dough. And that's so scary to bring that much money into politics, because even I feel like a lot of people don't care for him, but you see his ads everywhere now. Yeah. And at a certain point, visibility almost, quote unquote, trumps certain things, it's always top of mind. And you're like, oh, I guess I do see Bloomberg ads all the time. And, I guess it looks like he's an okay guy. And
I think the thing that will be interesting, so you have to get, and for all you social studies nerds out there, don't crucify me for this, but you have to get somewhere north of 360 delegates, in order to get the nomination for the Democratic Party. So there's 1,600 or something like that. You have to get 360, I think, 365 or 360 or more. And he has 2. So, the thing that kind of interests me is that if the nomination goes to someone else, then he decides to run as a independent, which he could. Where is that vote going to split? It's likely going to split on the Democrat side, which means that we get another Trump. That's scary.
Yeah.
I don't think he has a base big enough for that to be that effective. Honestly, I don't. I don't think he'll. But I agree with you that unfortunately the votes that he will get will come from the Democratic side. Absolutely. but I don't think it's going to be enough where it's going to really like affect us like for instance all those people that were burning bus. I don't think it's going to be out like that. I don't think it's going to be like so many people that chose not to vote because they didn't like the Democratic Party nominee. Like I don't think it'll be that bad.
What would be dope if this was just a big old psych? Like the whole reason that he was in there was to draw attention away from the real candidate that he was actually going to back. Do you know what I mean? Like a big
said the same about Trump. We're like, oh, he's just gonna say, "Sigh, I'm playing with y'all." And here we are. I don't think it's a play.
Yeah.
And then I know a lot of the community members were asking us too about like which candidates do we feel like aren't pandering to the POC community and the Black community. And I feel out of all of them, Elizabeth again wins in that regard because she's the one that's forcing the conversation. And even if maybe sometimes she's forcing it for political gain, I think all of them at some point are doing it for political gain. Yeah. I think she might be the least of the political gain, maybe. I think she cares a little more than the rest of them. I think they all know that without the Black vote and the brown vote that they're not going to win. But unfortunately, we've seen just the history of the country that they pander to the Black and brown vote, and then the next election cycle, we're like, you know, they did nothing, or you weren't able to do anything. They wouldn't allow you to do what you needed
lied
to do.
To me.
I do think though, there's the fact that having a specific Black agenda has become a like the entree to play. It's been expected that every single candidate has specifically a Black agenda. And, you know, they talk about it when they go on their talk shows and they do their rounds and all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, we've heard a lot of lip service, you know, from politicians about what they're going to do. But not to this degree of having this kind of like these kinds of plans and programs that are actually executable. Do I believe that there's pandering? Yes, there is 100%. But I also think that there's a reality kicking in that there's a whole host of people who aren't incarcerated, like those that were incarcerated in the 90s and the early 2000s, and you know still to this day, who are growing up in a Trump world and seeing all their friends and you know like everyone being scared about you know what's going to happen, who are now moving into being voters. And a lot of those folks are Black folks that their votes are going to matter. Whereas if you looked at the generation before, 2 generations before, the majority of those, you know, those Black communities were incarcerated or formerly incarcerated, which means with those felonies, they wouldn't be able to participate in the voting process altogether. So I think we have become, by volume, more of a threat.
And also, you know, speaking of, this is not necessarily about the election, but regarding the census, make sure that you're doing the census. And it's important that we do the census because that's how it only happens once a decade. So once they collect the census, it won't happen again for another 10 years. And what that means is the money that goes to different departments in the country for the government that is for like Black and brown bodies and like urban areas or like schools in urban areas, etc. like that. The funding comes from the census. And so for there, if we aren't being counted, that's less money that's going to those departments that fund for people like us. And it doesn't just go away. It actually goes to the other side. So it goes to the people who don't even fucking need the money to fucking begin with. So make sure that you are doing the census. And if people are afraid because of the question about being a U.S. citizen on it, and people are afraid that they are going to come and get you if you're illegal, the truth is, if they're sending you the census, that means they know where your ass at. So if they would have come and got you, it would have been and got you. Okay? So if you're getting the census, that means they're not checking for you. They just want to know where you are. Second more,
and it sets your representation as well in your communities.
Right. Second more, as far as that goes too, just if you see someone at your door, you don't have to let them in. They can't just come into your homes either. So Still do the census, and if it ain't someone that you know at your door, don't open the fucking door because they can't just come up and get you. So spread the word that we need to do the census. Otherwise, the country on paper is going to look way wider than it is. And we don't need that because that's exactly, it's going to help them erase us even more compared to what they're doing now.
Facts.
I found an interesting quote. It says, socialism is a scare word they have hurled at us at every advance that people have made in the last 20 years. Socialism is what they called public power. Socialism is what they called Social Security. Socialism is what they called farm price support. Socialism is what they called bank deposit insurance. Socialism is what they called the growth of the free and independent labor organizations, unions. Socialism is their name for almost anything that helps all the people. Who do you think said that?
It came in the early, the latest, it came from like FDR or something. Like they threw that word back in the early 1900s and late 1800s. So I don't know who said it.
Harry S. Truman, October 10th, 1952.
Truman. Okay, so there we go. Early, because it was never a negative word until, like, where did I see this on? Maybe Vox? Socialism was never a scary word until they marketed it that in like the 40s and 50s because they were the Republicans
Fidel
at the
Castro.
time were losing. Not even Fidel, it was even not outside of that context. And it was a way for one of the Republican candidates to win. So they marketed it as a negative thing. And ever since then, they've been able to throw this word. But a lot of people don't even know what the word means. They just know it was marketed as a negative
we have
thing,
Social Security.
when it really wasn't a negative
that is a
thing.
social program. That is, at any rate.
Which ain't going to be
Yeah,
around much
so-
longer anyway, so.
Girl, they're spending it all up.
Yep, exactly.
They're spending it all up. And they still taking
Yeah,
that
if we get it, that's a
15%
cherry
out
on
of
the
my
cake.
check every.
Which makes me so
Sure
mad.
do.
I will never forget when I was 25 and I first got that the Social Security little thing, and it told you like where you projected, how much you have invested, how much you put into your Social Security. First of all, I thought it was a bill, and I was like, "What the fuck? How the government billing me for something now?" I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was working at a financial for a couple of financial advisors at the time. And they explained it to me. I was like, oh, okay. So you saying this is how much money the government currently owes me back based off of retiring with Social Security. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Good to know. So I don't got to pay them. Even better. Because they're for safekeeping.
It's like, carry on.
Literally, for real. I had no idea. No idea.
Like, that was before I learned how to talk myself off the edge. I was better now.
Look, I was better now.
But all right, I think it's that point in the episode.
Yes!
You know what it
Yes.
is. It's coming. Come on, warm up your twerk. Warm up your
Come on,
twerk.
get them
Come on, here we
shoulders.
go. Warm up
Bounce
your
me,
limbs.
bounce on me.
And what time is it?
Ask
your
your aunties. Yes.
Oh man, let's see who has it up. I don't think I have
Who
it.
has this one?
Oh, I think I have it up here. Here we go. And this is a anonymous question, but it says, "How do you decide which friend to side with when a couple splits when you became friends with both at the same time and only knew them as a couple?"
Well, I ain't friends with no one that's gonna make me pick sides. If you give me the ultimatum to pick sides, I am definitely not picking you, because what you don't do is tell me what to do. So that's the number one thing. So if you my friend, don't tell me what to do. Let Jarrell come to it on his own. But being the person that I am, I tend to gravitate to the person that needs the most healing, because by nature I'm a supporting person. I love to just be there for those who need help. So I tend to gravitate to the person that needs the most healing. Doesn't mean that the person that's not healing as much isn't going through their own battles. But again, after last year, and I'm very vocal about it, with my struggle with anxiety and depression, I know what it feels like to have someone just be there for you. And so I know I know it helps. I know it helps. But besides that, if the person was like manipulating and cheating or like abusive and all this, you are the company you keep. So
you are the weakest link.
Right. So I can't be friends with people who are just outright out there hurting people. You know, like, that's just not who I am. So if that's not who I am, why surround myself with people like that? So those are the two things that I based off of. What three things I based off of when people split up is, you know, 1, did they force me to pick a side? 2, who's hurting the most? And 3, you know, was it over something that was harmful, you know, to the other person?
This is such a tough one.
Right.
Because I think for me, it depends on, you know, the quality of the relationships to begin with. You know, just because you meet a couple, you know, at the same time, doesn't always mean that you have the same kind of relationship with both of them.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, you could meet a couple at the same time and really click with the one partner, you know, and you rock with the other one, but like, you know, the one you talk to more often, you plan things more often with, you know, by the two of yourselves, and then obviously with partners or whatever, you know, so there's that dynamic. And I don't think that it would be fair to kind of like weigh the relationships equally, knowing that most relationships are not equal. So I would tend to be more loyal. I would stay neutral is my first pulse. But if I had to pick a side, then I would pick the side of the person that I feel I have the closer relationship with, unless that person did something that was not only offensive in the context of their own relationship, but it was offensive for me for whatever reason.
Right. Do you, and I agree with both of you guys. How do you feel if, say, one person or the other gets upset that you are still hanging with one or the other? You know, like,
I have a problem with that.
I got a problem with that too.
I got a
like
problem.
I said, don't tell me what to do.
I don't tell you what to do in your relationship. Well, as an auntie, I guess I do, but
we so do, don't we?
Right. But on the real, I don't tell other people what to do, and you certainly cannot tell me what I can do. First of all, I'm too old, I'm too black, and I make too much money for anybody to be telling me anything. So let's start there.
I know that's right.
But I don't understand, like, this goes back to the last Ask Your Aunties when we were talking about, you know, the person who has a, you know, really good friend, a best friend that they sometimes hook up with, and it's becoming weird. Like, you know, this becomes a jealousy thing. And if the friend is saying, I can't believe that you're spending time with them, whatever, well, why do you care what I'm doing? You worry about what you're doing. And if the quality of our relationship is solid enough, then you shouldn't have anything to be worried about. And if you do have something to be worried about, I can't help that because that's a you thing, not a me thing.
Yeah, I
agree.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's not okay to tell people what to do. And it's also not okay to, one, put people in the middle of your relationship too. Like, if you breaking up with someone, like, don't drag them into the point where you're making them choose sides. Like, that's not cool, because your breakup is with you and the person that you were in the relationship with, not you and everybody else. Like, that's not how that goes. So, yeah, don't tell me what to do. I don't think that the whole ultimatum thing is just not cool. Like, I'm not one for it.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with what you guys said.
Are there things you can
I guess another part. Oh, what?
Are there things that you can compartmentalize? So, like, what I kept thinking about is, if, let's say, hypothetically, you do have a couple that you met at the same time and the relationship quality is equal. So you're as good friends with both of them, right? But one cheated on the other. Like, are you able to compartmentalize that action, you know, and say, I'm still going to treat them equally until one proves not worth it?
And that's where I was actually going to kind of go with, is just like thinking, if one of the friends came to you to confide in, just like, because sometimes you go through a breakup, like you're raw, you're emotional, and sometimes you just want to vent to a friend, you know? So it's just like, I don't think they're necessarily trying to drag you into the messiness of it. I think sometimes there are times when you're just like, I just need someone because the person I probably would have talked to was the person I just broke up with.
Right. Yeah, I think
versa,
but I think venting's different though. Like telling your truth, is within your right. I don't think that's necessarily dragging someone into it, but trying to telling your truth to the point where your truth is supposed to change someone else's opinion on someone else, on the other person, then you're dragging someone into it. You're absolutely right. Yeah, because you're right. Because sometimes you just want to get that shit off your chest and be like, man, I hate that bitch. That motherfucker did this, you know?
Right, exactly, you know? And I think it goes to the intent of them, which is kind of hard to tell what a person's intent is sometimes, especially in that kind of state. But to answer your question, Dawon, I think sometimes you can compartmentalize because you guys always make fun of me being this and person, but honestly, a person could be this and this and this. A person could be charming. Yep. A person could be a friend, but a person can also be manipulative. A person could be mean. A person could be, you know? And so you try your best to judge that friendship on the totality of the friendship. That, yes, there might be times that I don't fucking agree what you did to this human being at all. Do I think that's the sum of your being? Sometimes it could be. Maybe you saw that tendency in them and you're like, oh, it came to fruition. Okay, I don't need to fuck with them no more. But other times it might be, God, I don't know why they did that. I don't think that's truly them. And it might be one of those things where you need to tell them, be like, hey, I don't fuck with what you just did. I don't think it's going to end our friendship, but it's leaving a bitter taste in my mouth, whatever it may be. I think within the friendship, that might be an opportunity to let them know, especially if you're friends with both of them. Because if it did end messy with cheating or manipulation, whatever it may be, your friend at the end of the day might look at you a kind of way if they see you on Facebook still at their house or their parties or at the bars or whatever, because of the messiness of it. And I think you need to maybe communicate that to them, because each friendship is going to be a little different now, you know? And they might be like the friend that might got cheated on, they'll be like, I just vented to you, and then now I still see you over there chilling with them. Like, I feel some kind of way, which I think, honestly, I would probably feel a little way because you're hurt still. You're still, you know?
Right.
But I think that's where communication and drawing the line where you need to. But sometimes you do compartmentalize, but I think there is, like where you talked about earlier about the cancel culture, you might need to cancel that friendship, because if they're willing to do that to someone that they supposedly sleep with and love and everything, that they might have that tendency or potential to do it to you. And maybe that's something you just need to be aware of and keep your eyes on. It's not to say that they will, but honestly, I think we all have that capability at the end of the day.
I think the complicated thing is, with a lot of relationships, there's the possibility that these couple can get broken up and it seemed like the end of the world, and then they end up getting back together. And that would make it so complicated if, like, you chose sides and then they got back together. Right?
That part too.
That would be an interesting web to water.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I can compartmentalize too, but I agree with Krell. Like, I'll do that, but I think I tend to cancel people because of my morals. And if I see that someone is not lining up with my morals, I just tend to just stay away from that, because I'm all about protecting my energy in 2020. And so if your energy is disrupting my vibes, you got to go. I don't care if it was because your relationship, what you were doing with someone else, because you did it with someone else. That means you have the potential to disrupt my energy, which I ain't featuring that. So I'm gonna need you to be disruptive over there and leave me and my little island alone over here with my little Wilson over here. I'm good. So
if you did it to him, what makes you think you're going to do it to me?
It's still Black History Month and we're recording this. You got to call him Woodrow or something.
Woodrow.
Yeah,
but no, I think that was a good question.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
it's tough. It really is. And that just goes to show you,
especially the older you get too.
Yes.
Because you might not have that big of a friend group. Honestly, the older you get, you know, it's just like everyone's working this and that. And so when stuff like that, disrupts the friend group, and you're just like, I cared for both of them, and
and then the ripple effect
happened, and that exactly.
But think about it, like the ripple effect. While you're making that decision, with this couple that you're friends with, and then you decide to do whatever, that also impacts your circle. That they may be a part of. So then your energy, it's tough. Breaking up is hard.
Oh, I do want to remind people though too. Look, just because someone tell you their business, don't mean it's your business. So shut your damn mouth. Okay, don't go around spreading other people's shit, because that is between them two, and you are a confidant. That means your lips are supposed to be sealed. And if you go around running your mouth, you have every right to get popped in your mouth. Period. Poo.
And for those of you who don't know, that was Auntie Hennessy.
That was Auntie Hennessy.
You better ask somebody.
That was my TED Talk for the episode.
Can you imagine Auntie Hennessy giving a TED Talk? Everybody will have so much they'll be stressed out and bald. They'll
be a whole lot
so scared.
They'll be like hand clapping it. What you ain't gonna do is hand rollings and
she only got 2 slides, but she going off.
Got that earring dangling.
Community, we do have a follow-up to last week's Ask Your Aunties too, from Anonymous.
Already?
Yes.
Okay.
And Anonymous said, y'all had solid advice. I totally see what Dawon said about him being in competition with me. He admitted it on Sunday. Major red flag. Thanks, sis, for bringing it up. I have a lot to think about. I'll keep y'all posted. So, Dawon, like I said last week, I hadn't even thought about that until you said it at the end of the Ask Your Aunties. He might be in competition with you.
There's only a handful of reasons why somebody would have that much energy and focus on what somebody else is doing that they're not in a relationship with.
They thought it was the Olympics.
Stay away.
That's time for all this kind of way.
But we need another update, because he said, I'm going to think about it. So we need to find out what the conversation was like, or what actions took place. Did you go to jail?
Or did you get digmatized again? That part.
Yeah, well, thanks for that update.
Okay.
Yeah, and y'all keep sending your Ask Your Aunties your questions or topics to discuss, because, y'all, look, we can talk, obviously. Y'all still here. So y'all know we can talk.
Episode 59.
So how about y'all give us something
funny
to talk about that y'all want to hear, so you can be that much more engaged. Ow.
It was so funny in Palm Springs, riding on the way back to the airport, listening to the podcast with other people that listen to the podcast was an interesting experience to hear them talking back, and what parts made them laugh, what parts didn't make them laugh, what parts they weren't engaged, what parts they were engaged. I was like, this is kind of cool. It's a little like research, data research on the community.
That's gotta feel a little
definitely agree.
Surreal.
It was
To
because the people I listen to, they're like my close friends, but for them to be that engaged and feel like there's value in the podcast was cool feeling. It was nice and warm, fuzzy feeling. And then to hear what they agreed with and what they disagreed with, and who they agreed with and who they didn't, just like, okay, that's interesting to see their thought process too, and hear them talk back to the radio like I'm not sitting there in the same damn car too, It was interesting. That was the first time since we've launched the podcast that that's happened to me. Like, obviously, my husband listens to it, and he kind of gives me feedback, and other friends give me feedback here and there. But it was interesting to just be in the moment listening to it with them, which is completely different, And the stuff that still made me crack up.
One of these days, we got to do like a live...
we keep talking about that
episode, or like we'll record one and then we'll do a live playback of that and have a whole bunch of people like that. That would be dope.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. But before we got out of here, Black History Month just ended. We know it's in March, whatever.
Too soon.
But we're gonna be blackity black all year. So anyway, we wanted to kind of do a lighthearted segment. It might be fall under the curiosity segment. So here we go, and it's gonna be called "Don't Revoke My Black Card."
Oh boy! Is there a
So I want to I'm gonna say a couple scenarios, and I want to see you guys' answers, and I guess I'll chime in as well. If we should revoke their black card, or if you're like, okay, we'll let it slide. So here we go. The first one is, don't revoke my black card, but I've never seen Coming to America. You might have to give that one up.
No. I feel like it was hard for me to believe that like maybe 5 years ago, but now I'm like, there's a whole generation of people that's grown that
Fact. Yeah.
never,
That's
just
true.
will
you know
never
what I mean?
understand
Like,
it. Yeah.
and
That's
if you think
true.
about who's tweeting or asking the question, it ain't no 50-year-old. You know, it ain't no 75-year-old.
I'm looking at the picture. They look grown enough to know.
Okay.
They
But
look
I
grown
mean, I
enough to
feel
be
like
in
there's
it and
enough
seen that.
preponderance of evidence, you know, that there's enough people who have not seen it, you know, that it's not so far-fetched for me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I think that there's a generational gap there almost now at this point from when Coming to America was like super relevant to now. Now it's just a Black classic, whereas it's not a Black kind of like current kind
Staple.
of you know. It's not,
Somebody mama should have made them watch Coming to America though, growing up.
but here's the thing. I think if you have never heard of Coming to America, then your Black card should be revoked. Because I know plenty of people who know how to quote
That
movies,
part.
especially like Coming to America,
Right.
because there's so many lines or one-liners in there. The royal penis is clean, Your Highness. You know?
Right.
That was a trash.
You know, like they're
Velvet? What is this? This is beautiful. What is this, velvet?
But for real, you know, there are lines in there
juices
that
and
people
berries.
can quote that they can
Sweat
quote
from
and
the
not have
baboon's
seen the
balls.
movie. So
Right.
that would be my
Okay, I
that would
agree
be
with you
my
on that
yeah. So you keep your Black
one.
card.
Okay.
I'm still thinking about.
All right.
Sorry, I'm still thinking about the movie.
I just love how Sam Jackson busted in that bitch.
Right?
Oh, like a crackhead. A crackhead.
Right. People forget that
Who
Sam
was the worst
Jackson was the
crackhead,
crackhead.
him or
in it.
Pookie? That's the question.
Ooh, that's a good question.
We might have to
That's
save
good
that one for later. I
Yeah,
know
we'll
we're
have to
doing your
save that one.
curiosity.
You can say that one.
Alexa. Okay, here's the next one. Don't revoke my Black card, but I suck at the electric slide and all other line dances.
Revoke.
Gone.
Revoke.
Gone.
Because that is the bare minimum of rhythm. Okay, but the bitch tells you what to do. If
Right.
you can't follow simple instructions, bitch, you got to go. Okay, how you get your card to
can
begin with?
feel it. It's electric. Boogie, boogie, boogie. Same. Gone. You
No,
Yeah.
gone.
Look, you
No.
learn the electric slide when
Bye.
you're 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows up at
Facts.
every birthday,
Every
over
picnic.
20 years of your life, plus years of your life, you can't learn them steps that repeat.
Right.
It's only 4 steps.
Look, and you repeat.
I
You
hear you.
repeat. It's
Right.
not that
Right,
hard.
for the whole
Then
8
you
minutes of song
deserve your
go
card.
on.
Okay, it really is
'Cause I
not
don't
that
even feel-
hard.
Like this isn't even, in my view, this isn't even a coordination issue. You know how some people are, some Black people don't got it, right? So
Yeah.
I don't even think that's a coordination issue. It's you got to go. You're not part of the community.
Yeah, you got to participate. Yeah, you got to participate in that one.
Mhm.
All right,
Even
this
if
one's
for 60
kinda on the
seconds
same
or
line.
30 seconds. Jump
Yeah.
in, jump out.
You got to do at least one pass through,
Right, exactly.
1 8 count.
Look.
Revolving elevator.
I feel like we almost need a don't revoke my Black card.
Right.
Okay, don't revoke my Black card, but I can't double Dutch.
Okay, that's hard.
That's
Double
a
Dutch is
coordination
hard.
issue.
Yeah, that's a coordination issue. Not everyone can do it. I mean, the best way to learn, well, they ain't got phone cords no more, so I don't know how you gonna do it.
That's true.
But you can go to the Dollar Tree, and find you some dollars, some dollar phone cords. Get in
Tie
the
them
street.
USB cables together.
Look, okay, that part. Yep, exactly.
See, you got to get hit in the face a couple times. That's how you learn. You got to get
Look,
hit in the face.
but you know it's
I think
triggering
double
because
Dutch
some people
still-
got whipped with them though. So some people didn't learn the double Dutch because
It's a trigger
it
effect.
catch your ankle and you like, ooh, damn, and then your ankle ashy all of a sudden because you got hit on your ankle.
But then that tells you that is a Black moment. That's because that's
Yeah.
a very Black moment.
That's a very Black
So your
moment.
card might need to get revoked.
Yeah,
I feel like if you've never wanted to double Dutch, it's a different thing to be able to double Dutch. But if you don't look at the rhythm of the ropes going back
Right.
and forth and
And-
start
and do
rocking
the-
with it, it's a wrap. You got to go.
Right.
You know, actually,
Right.
me and my friends from Minneapolis, we do that. So we be in the club and we do the double dutch. So there'll be two of us, and we'll start twirling our arms, and then one of us will jump in and be like, "Hey!" in the middle of the damn club. We have gotten people turned on to that. That's our thing. We love
That's
doing
the way
that.
to do it. All right. Don't revoke my black card. But I still don't like a different world. See now. Hold on. I'm about
You
to
gotta
throw
go.
this damn phone.
Revoke.
You
Revoke.
gotta go. Bye.
Revoke.
This is about to be
I
like the
feel
racial
like-
vote, like in Chappelle's show.
I feel
Right.
like people that say that are the same people that say they don't like the Cosby Show or didn't like the Cosby Show, in part because it didn't reflect their experience. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, it's part of our culture. It was, the only show that featured 20-something, 19-year-old something college Black individuals who were living their lives, and you never even saw that on television before.
That's true.
So forget, damn
Yeah.
the barrier breakers of it. But I feel like the people that are so like, I don't really get the Cosby Show, or I don't really get, a different world, are the people that, can't see a world outside of what they know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or that
I think
the world
it's
has at
canceled.
least progressed a little bit that it isn't as barrier breaking now as it was in 92 or whatever it is,
Facts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a crush on Dwayne back then. He was so fine. He always had his
With
little
the flip up glasses.
He had his hat up with the glasses on.
You liked him in
And
his
the
nerdy
episode-
years? Because he
Yes.
got like,
And
he did a Steven Stefan, from like those earlier episodes to some of the later ones.
Look, when he yelled at Whitney that one episode, he said, "Come here, girl." She was like, "Okay," and she ran away from her friends.
Actually,
I ran
he
into
snapped his
her at a
fingers.
restaurant here in Atlanta. Oh, what?
In that episode, he snapped his fingers. They were standing in the hallway, and she
Yeah,
come
he
on,
did.
and then he snapped his finger, and then she came right on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I saw
was like,
Jasmine Guy right when we first moved to Atlanta. Corey and I
Shut
at a
up!
burger joint here, and I was like,
How does she look?
like I was like it takes probably a lot for me to really get starstruck, but I was starstruck. I was like, Corey, that's Jasmine Guy, and then he doesn't know the name Jasmine Guy. He's like, I was like, Whitley from a different world. He's like, oh, where? He turned around. I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, literally, it was probably the first month that we moved here. Randomly saw her at a restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah, I love her
okay.
too. I know that show. That's a classic show. That is a classic show. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like
Yeah, it's got to go.
yeah, it's got to go.
Yeah, your card's revoked.
Mhm.
Okay. Don't revoke my black card. I don't play spades.
You know what? Okay, I know how to play spades, but I don't play spades either. And the reason why I don't play
Right,
spades,
I'm in that same camp.
I know how to play spades, but I don't play spades because I'll be ready to fight people. And so,
Somebody break your suit.
look, it's a family reunion. It's a family get together. We a somebody picnic. So, I ain't trying to mess up with the vibes. I'm just going to leave my ass out. Now, I will show up to that game, that domino table though, bitch.
Oh, right.
And I will be slapping the fuck out that table. Like, come on now. Because it's not a team. It's not a team thing. There's nothing worse than playing spades and having a bad partner. Like, there's
Oh, man.
Nothing worse
Yeah,
than
that's
that.
the worst.
I don't do team sports to begin
I
with,
agree.
so I can't do spades.
You may
No.
coach them, but you don't do them.
Yeah. No, it's not for me. So
I feel like I know how to play spades, but I learned later it's not a card game that my family played. We are more like word games. So like Boggle, Taboo, Scrabble, like those were ours. But so spades was never really that part of my childhood. So I can fuck with that. I can fuck with that statement. You can keep your card.
I haven't played spades since I was younger. We used to play it at a friend's place a lot. But then like my immediate family, we play like categories and stuff like that. So yeah, that one, it's borderline revoking.
It is borderline.
It's borderline.
Though,
like you
'cause
better
that's so
know how
part
to
of-
play.
yeah,
Right. It's part of the
Right.
culture. You better know how to
Right.
play. Doesn't mean you play it all the time.
Facts.
That would be like,
Yeah,
I'm black. I grew up.
You might be
Chicago,
on a probation.
but I never been
You might
to
be on a
black barber.
probation status.
Like, come on now.
Right. All right, here we go. Another one here. Don't revoke my black card. But we're in 2020, and I still have not watched Black Panther.
Gotta go. Revoke.
Out.
Revoke.
You're kicked out of Wakanda.
You a hater.
Revoke.
You a
Wakanda.
hater anyway. You a
Yeah.
hater because you're choosing. This is something that you know and something that you're choosing not to do to support the culture.
Facts.
So you gotta
Facts.
go.
Absolutely.
That
Like
show
a
had
movie.
all black actors, all black directors, all black caterers, all black
Everything.
black people sweeping the floors, changing the lights, putting on eyelashes. That put so much money in so many black people's pockets that you would choose not to watch it on principle. Bye.
Mhm.
For real. Yeah, no,
Adios.
revoked. Shoot, actually,
Yeah.
I want to watch that
Yeah.
show. I want to go watch that movie again, maybe tomorrow.
Right now.
Look,
Right.
I forgot what is it, the Def Jam, like little comedy, like little Facebook group, whatever. Like they recorded a video when it came out, and they with the white man, the white guy in the office, and he like they were in the meeting. He gave an idea. He's like, "Oh, how about we feature the Nigerian bobsled team?" And they were like, "Woof, woof, woof." And they just all started barking at him, and he left the office. And once he left, they were like, that was actually a really good idea. How come we didn't think of that?
Right.
There'll be no
love it,
challenge
love
today.
No, right. Hey,
It's such a
Auntie.
good movie, man. It's black as fuck. Man.
Yeah, you a hater. You
You
got
a
a
hater.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Give us your card. Thank you. Don't revoke my black card. But I don't like grits.
I know a
Gotta
lot of
go
people
with my
don't.
book.
I know a lot of people who don't like grits, and it's just the texture part.
Okay.
But I agree though. You have to
Might
be.
gotta go.
I think it gotta go. You have to be. You gotta. If it's in front of you and you ain't eating it, your black card gotta go.
It's gone.
Now, like,
Sorry.
I'm okay if you're not picking it off the menu if it's there, because everybody grits ain't done the same. Some people like
Right.
butter, some people like sugar. Which
Right.
I still never understood why people put sugar in their grits.
I don't understand
I
that.
don't
either.
understand that either. I don't
Me
understand
either.
They're the
But-
same people that put sugar in their chili.
that too.
Ugh.
But
I put a little sugar in the chili. Not like a lot.
Mm.
It's not sweet.
Mm-mm. This
But
is like
I think it
Kool-Aid.
levels
This
out.
is like Kool-Aid versions of sugar.
Look.
Like cups.
Oh no.
let me tell you, if it's any more than one of those Splendicide packages,
Right.
those sweet and low packages, if it's any more sugar than that, that's too much.
No, ma'am.
But no, like if you would eat it, if it's in front of you and someone made it, then you're good. But if you're not eating it at all, revoked.
Yeah,
Right.
you gotta go.
That's just history. There's just
Alright.
history behind
Mhm.
grits and it just being one of the few things that people could eat back in the day. Like there's just
Right.
culture behind it where you just
And
but
it
I
comes
guess
from
some
they
people
wouldn't give us shit else to eat. So like we
Right.
made
Yeah.
food from what we got. That's why
Right.
chitlins became a cultural thing. That's why
Mhm.
fried chicken became a cultural thing. And now, especially fried chicken, they have fried chicken everywhere talking about, oh, this is the best fried chicken over here. And everybody and their mama making fried chicken. And
Right.
they looked at us crazy for centuries for making fried
Yeah.
chicken and liver and chitlins and all this stuff. And now they want to make it all this high class stuff. Back up, boo boo. Give me 50
Facts.
feet. Give me
Facts.
50 feet. All right, we got a couple more here.
Okay.
Don't revoke my black card. But Garth Brooks got some shit on the low. He do. He got some songs I'm like, okay, low key, this song's kind of it.
Did you make that one up?
Nope. Sir Dennis Morrow, whoever this is.
Who is Garth Brooks?
The Great King Sir, at the Great King Sir on
It
Twitter.
was Garth Brooks.
For real, I don't know who this man is.
Oh my god.
You don't know who Garth Brooks is?
Girl, no. Who is this
Ooh.
man?
Oh my god.
Ooh. That cannot be a generational
It must be one of the
thing.
old pictures of him.
He ain't cute.
Well, he's not cute, but we're saying
No,
he got some
no.
songs.
Yeah.
He has some songs like what?
He's
what
married
song?
to Trisha Year. I got friends in low places.
I hate that
Where the
song.
whiskey and the beer chases my blues away. And okay, whatever. My card revoked, I guess, on that one. What you
It's a
saying?
no for me,
Dewan?
Paula.
I would say no. I would say no.
I can keep my card.
Look, yes, I would.
No,
say
I meant
keep your
revoked.
card.
I mean, it's.
Oh, thank you.
No,
I think. Look, we can appreciate a lot of other kinds of music, especially when there are similarities, and certainly when they're not. So you can keep it.
There we go.
I mean, if all
Thanks,
the white
boo.
people, for all the white people out there to keep a black card for, I am not. I'm not wasting mine on him. I'm just saying, there's other white people I'll be checking for that deserve a card to be kept before him. I'm just saying.
You right on that. You right on. But he's literally like probably the top 5 selling artists of all time. Like people be checking for him.
Yes, I'm not.
All right, we'll end on this one. Don't revoke my black card. No, I got one more after this one. That's funny. Don't revoke my black card. But the TV show Martin was not funny.
Get the fuck out of here. You a hating ass nigga.
You gotta go.
Bye, bitch. Revoked. You don't, and you can't renew your membership. Ain't no comeback. No.
Ain't no comeback from that one.
Ain't no comeback for it.
So that's
honestly
the
do
line
not
of cancel
understand
culture right there.
how you can watch Martin and not think it's funny. It
Think
doesn't
it's
have to be
funny.
like gut busting, like hilarious the entire time, but like no matter what your humor is, you're getting some of it. You're getting slapstick, you're getting intellectual humor, you're getting dry humor. Like you just a hater at that point.
I still go on YouTube and watch the reads between Pam and Martin, and I still fucking crack up. They used to go at each other's throats on TV.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm surprised they got away
yeah.
with half the shit that they say.
Jerome in the house. Jerome in the house. Better watch your mouth. Oh, man. Okay, so the last one here is don't revoke my black card. I don't drink Hennessy.
I mean, Hennessy ain't for
Anymore?
everybody.
Because that's the thing.
Hennessy ain't for everybody, like I said.
Right. 'Cause
Damn.
some people just can't hang.
Right?
Can you keep up, baby boy? Make me lose
Baby
my
boy.
breath.
If you can't make me say, ooh, at the beat of this drum. They always gave Michelle these little wake-ass ad-lib parts. Poor Michelle.
No,
But yeah, if you don't drink, if you haven't had Hennessy or don't drink it from time to time, you might have to get that card.
You got to get
yeah, you got to.
It burned.
It burned.
It burned.
It burns, but you get lit though.
But
That's the thing I love about Hennessy
extra
is
lit.
you will get extra lit, and that's why the family reunions, the gatherings, be
Woo.
crazy as fuck because everybody drinking Hennessy. Like,
Don't get my friend Conrad Hennessy.
oh, Conrad
Hey,
is
Conrad.
man, she's something else on Hennessy.
Woo. Keep that away
Look,
from her.
her little Carlton sweater comes off real quick.
Right.
It's not
Hey, Conrad.
Hey, Conrad, boo.
Oh man, but that's it. Don't revoke, and I'm sure we'll probably bring this one back up again. So, if you have something that you want us to bring up on the episode, let us know. DM us, email us, whatever it may be. Hit us up in text if you got our numbers. And I'm sure we'll probably do different variations. We could probably even do "Don't revoke my gay card." So, so we'll bring this one back up again. But I thought that was kind of cute to end Black History Month.
Yes.
On that note. So, but I think we're getting to the end of the episode here.
Yeah,
Anything
that's
else on your minds, your hearts?
Nah, just keep loving yourself, loving each other, and just try to be positive and just make sure you're staying in tune with your own vibe.
And if you want to send me a birthday gift, I will give you my address or my Cash App.
I was about to say the Cash App, girl. There you go. That's what you need to do. Cash App that.
Start pinning dollar bills on my shirt like they do. That's don't revoke my black card right there. That's a blackity black
You
thing.
never had that experience being 4 years old with 18 safety pins and dollar bills stuck to you?
And that fear of being poked because your auntie have been drinking. Come here, baby. Let me put this on you. Oh no, I got it. I can do it. No. That's my money. Let me do this. It's your birthday.
Ooh.
Oof. Man.
I'm clutching my chest right now.
But
Oh, man. But on that note, community, have a great week. We will see you next week. Love you guys.
yeah, bye, y'all.
Bye.